All right, we are live with Daddy Warpig. We are waiting for the illustrious professor. He is fashionably late, as he usually is. And again, don't know about Ralph. He's hit or miss. I'm not sure what kind of cat emergencies he's going to have tonight, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see if he decides to show up. Daddy Warpig, how have you been since last week?
I don't even remember the last week.
Last week was Nick Cole.
I remember the show. I don't remember the last week.
Oh, well, you've been on a bender?
If I remembered, I could tell you.
That's good. All right. Well, how are you now?
Um, I'm a little bit tired today, to be honest, but I will still be far more impressive than any random 10 SJWs you could possibly round up.
That I do not doubt for one single second. So I just saw the link that you posted, and it's cracking me up. I hadn't even intended to talk about it because I didn't know about it until I saw you tweet it or Facebook it, I guess, just a few minutes ago. That there's a fence on the border that is just too high, and apparently it's so high that the Mexican immigrants are the illegal immigrants are jumping over the fence on purpose and breaking their legs and arms making the leap. What? I can't get over it because the tone of the article is like, how dare we force these people to jump over this fence and break their legs?
Yeah, it's a tragedy, I tell you. It's a real tragedy when someone who's trying to break into the country illegally hurts themselves doing so. You know, it's like those stories you hear about crooks breaking into stores and getting hurt in the process, like cutting themselves on the glass of the window they're shattering. It's like, damn, that's just how do you put up with that, America? Golly.
Which it's funny because I don't even. Well, last week the illegal immigrants were out protesting Trump, and they had signs, and the sign said "Make America Mexico." So if that's what you want, if it's so great, why are you breaking your arms and legs, leaping a 15-foot high fence? Get in here. Which is it? Do you want Mexico, or do you want to risk life and limb to enter the United States? Or do you just enjoy the breaking of your legs, jumping the fence, so that you can then protest in our streets with signs that says "Make America Mexico"? I don't understand Is there a philosophy behind that, or is it just a temper tantrum?
Well, the whole problem with the Southwest is a temper tantrum anyway. It's a bunch of people from a failed country who are upset at something supposedly being stolen. Here's the facts about the Southwest. Southern California, New Mexico, Arizona, it was a bunch of worthless desert real estate until America took it over, until America made something of it. It was nothing. It was desert. It was about as useful as the Gobi Desert, as the Sahara Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only reason they want to come here is because America made something worthwhile of it. And here's another thing. These are some facts that you may not be aware of. The American Southwest was claimed by the country of Mexico, but it was also claimed by Great Britain. And the only authority who said it belonged to Mexico and not Great Britain was the Pope. And so all of this talk about this Southwest belonging to Mexico means that you are accepting the absolute dictates of the Pope.
Oh, boy.
And at the time, the United States took over the jurisdiction, the administration of the Southwest. There were more British people living in it than Mexican people. There were about 3,000 Mexican families, all of whom got bought out, all of whom were paid for their land. They weren't kicked out. They weren't, run off on a trail of tears. They were paid money for their land and voluntarily agreed to relocate to Mexico. And then 10 or 20 years later, we had the Gadsden Purchase, where we paid tens of millions of dollars for this tiny little chunk of land along the southern border of Arizona and New Mexico. Mexico does not today, and never has, had claim to that territory. It wasn't stolen from Mexico, okay? It was territory that was paid for twice. If anybody should be pissed off about the vast wealth in Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico not belonging to them, it should be the British. We should be apologizing to the British. Hey, sorry we took that from you. Sorry we stole the Southwest, this immense chunk of worthless desert from you, and made something good of it, made something useful of it, made something worthwhile of it. Mexico had the exact same access to vast resources that America has had. Unfortunately, starting in about 1850, Mexico has had a long series of dictators who ruined the country, ruined the country's economy, and made Mexico poor. That's not the fault of America. The only reason you want to come to America is because we have a country that runs better, so far, than your country has been run for the last couple of 100 years, and you have to come here in order to make money. You can't stay at home. Now, that's a tragedy, but that's not our fault, and that doesn't mean that giving you the American Southwest is going to make Mexico great again.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. That was probably the best of the Warpig rants. It's that was great. That was where I was gonna go with it, but you certainly did it more eloquently than I was going to, I think.
I didn't know the U.S. paid Mexico, what, $15 million or something for that land.
I actually think that the number is higher than that, because if I'm not mistaken, Warpig, at the time we also forgave a significant chunk of debt that Mexico owed us.
That could very well be. I remember 12.7 million, but I could be wrong. And I am willing to accept any and all corrections on that score.
Well, nonetheless, here we are, all these years later, and we have, they had their children do it, which is bizarre to me. But they had, I mean, if you've seen the video, the 10, 12-year-old children with their middle fingers up in the air and the Make America Mexico signs that they're holding up. I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't understand what their point is. If you want to live in Mexico, it's quite easy. Just jump back over the fence you leapt over to get here, and you're in Mexico. I don't know. No one's stopping you.
Yeah, and if we gave back the Southwest to Mexico, it would become part of Mexico. It would become another crime-ridden third world hellhole. All of the people who produce wealth would flee, and you would just have the same problems that Mexico has, and pretty soon they'd be having to come to Idaho and Montana, crossing the border illegally to get jobs.
We should just give them California, but just wait until minutes before it falls into the ocean. It's all yours. You can have it. Now, I saw, aside from that, I saw that the mayor of Londonistan is upset with Donald Trump earlier today. He doesn't like his views on Muslims, I guess, which ironically I think is the fact that London has now such an influx of migrants. The fact that the number one baby boy name is Mohammed and they have a Muslim mayor is partially why Trump exists, I think. But there's a sentiment out there. And I see it on Twitter. I see a large number of people, even in England and London, who feel that London has been basically conquered without a shot. That Muslim migrants have done something that the Germans couldn't do, and basically they've occupied London in Sweden and for the most part without even firing a shot. So I kind of think it's ironic that the more he carries on, the more popular that people, if not Trump, that people like Trump with similar views are going to get. And as an illustration of that, I was reading an article earlier. Now this is circuitous, but bear with me for a second. I was reading an article on ProFootballTalk.com, okay, and the guy that owns that website is Mike Florio. He's an attorney. He's a very left-wing guy. You can see it in his writing. So he has a lot of left-wing fans, and in his comment section, it's generally reflected that it's a very leftist group of football followers. So he writes an article today that the Jets center Nick Mangold is a Trump supporter, and he goes on to say that Trump's view of Muslims and he wants to ban all Muslim immigration, which is not what Trump had, not what he said, but nonetheless, that's what he writes. That's the unpopular view, and Mangold's going to have to support that kind of thing in the locker room. Well, anyway, in the comments section of that article, where I normally go to see all of the liberals agreeing with Florio, instead, all of the liberals there are saying, well, what do you do you not see what's going on in Europe? Did you not see that Sweden has no-go zones? Do you not see that London has a serious migrant problem? Do you not see the Muslim riots in France? And now I'm really actually starting to think that this is turning into a bipartisan sort of feeling that we need to control immigration. I mean, do you sense that at all, Professor?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are seeing what's going on in the world, like you mentioned, all those different zones and no-go zones in Sweden and in the UK, and they realize that this could happen in the United States as well. And I just wanted to point out that Trump didn't say ban all Muslim immigration. He just said, let's stop the Muslim immigration until we figure out what's going on, until we analyze the problem more deeply. And I think a lot of people are twisting Trump's words.
They are twisting Trump's words, and in fact, banning Muslim immigration from countries that are facing serious issues with extremists isn't anything new. Jimmy Carter did it already once before, and I'm not even sure that Trump's plan is all that original. It's already been done before. So, but when the left reports on Trump, what they like to do is they like to leave certain words out so they can change the narrative to what they want. They say Trump's anti-immigration. They say Trump's immigrant problem. They say Trump wants to build a border wall to keep immigrants out. They always leave off the illegal part. It just we just forgot to say illegal. Say
right.
Trump doesn't like immigrants. Trump is anti-immigration. They say, which isn't and Trump supporters anti-immigration, but they always leave the illegal part out. And so they say he doesn't like Muslims. They leave off the radical part. The radical Islamists. It's a tired tactic, but sometimes it works.
Yeah, and not only that, they really twist his words. He didn't say he hates Mexicans. They call him a racist just because he said Mexico is sending their criminals to the U.S. I think he said something to that effect, and from that they took away Trump as a racist. It's a big leap from what he says to these accusations of racism or misogyny or anti-Muslim sentiment.
Well, the funny thing is, Professor and Daddy Warpig, that I find it kind of strange that most of my liberal friends for years now, whenever they were in an argument that they either couldn't win or that they couldn't justify, such as with free education or free healthcare, what they always do with me personally, and online I've seen it a lot, is they say, well, in Europe that's like their go-to thing. Like in Europe because Europe must be so great and so enlightened that if they do it in Europe, why can't we do it here? That's what they always say. But now what I'm seeing even out of my liberal friends is the opposite. They're saying, well, Jesus, we don't want to be London. We don't want that kind of mass migration. That's not what we want, because that's basically, even though they won't say these words because they think it's racist, well, what is it if it isn't basically an invasion?
Yeah.
Now they're looking at London and saying we don't want to be like that, which is not what liberals were telling me 6-7 months ago. So I think, and couple that with some of the exit polls that were out last night that said almost in 3 of the last states that they did this exit poll in, 40% of Bernie supporters said if he wasn't in the general election, they would go ahead and go Trump's way.
Yeah, I was surprised with that stat. That's like a third of the Bernie supporters are going to vote for Trump if Hillary is a Democratic nominee.
I'm not sure what that stat means. It either means that there is an issue somewhere. There's a hot button issue that Trump is touching on, the Bernie supporters are for, and maybe it is the massive immigration problem, or they're just idiots, and when they're stoned they love Bernie, and when they're out of pot they're like, oh Nate, that Trump's okay. I don't know what else it could be, because how could you on the one hand support a doddering old socialist and on the other hand a billionaire capitalist? There couldn't be. It's like a Bears fan rooting for the Packers or something. It doesn't make any sense to me. How would you do that?
I think it's the whole anti-establishment mentality. Whoever
it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me. I'm telling you, we'll never see another election like this, but to have someone swing that far from, well, yeah, yesterday I was a socialist, but today I'm going to vote for the capitalist. I don't... It makes very little sense to me. There has to be a reason there. And I wish the exit poll had gone further and maybe asked them if they, what their most important issues were or something, because There's got to be something. There's something that Trump said that resonated with Bernie, or maybe it's a feeling of betrayal because the Bernie supporters just feel like he's getting screwed over by the Democratic Party with the superdelegates, and maybe the Trump vote is a protest vote. I mean, I've said from the beginning that I think there's going to be a very strong anyone but Hillary vote that Trump may capitalize on. So,
well, I mean, they are absolutely getting screwed over. That's not a, if I was a Bernie supporter, I'd be angry. I'd be pissed.
Oh yeah.
If you were a Bernie supporter, you'd barely be coherent and be stoned right now.
But they are getting screwed over, though. They're having the election stolen from them.
Oh, absolutely. I don't. It's like, when I was at the Trump rally, it's one of the things that Trump said. He said, I open it every day. I open the paper. Bernie wins. Bernie wins. Bernie wins. I turn on the news. Hillary gets all the delegates. What's going on in that party? So that's why he started. I think that might be one of the reasons he started calling her Crooked Hillary. He's having quite the feud with goofy Elizabeth Warren. I think that's pretty funny.
Trump cracks me up with his nicknames. He has one for Bernie now. It's gone viral. Crazy Bernie Sanders.
The thing is, it's in the delivery. He's like a comedian where what he's, like one of those gifted comedians where what he says, if you analyze it, isn't all that funny, but there's something about his delivery. Like the nicknames aren't all, he's not exactly the Chris Berman of nicknames, but for some reason they stick, and I've seen mainstream people, I've seen liberals pick up the goofy Elizabeth Warren thing. He's got a real knack for it, man. I'm telling you. So, Professor, let me ask you this:
Chris Berman. Chris Berman is the king of nicknames.
Oh man!
The San Diego Chargers had a running back, Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Chris Berman called him Eric sleeping with Bieniemy.
Eric sleeping with Bieniemy. I remember that guy. Yeah, that's right. There was what was the oh god, he had so many nicknames over the years. There was one guy whose name was like Matthews or something, and he kept saying "Ants marching into the end zone" like a Dave Matthews reference. I miss Chris Berman, I really do, and whatever, I'm not sure what's happening at ESPN over there, but there's a total purge underway. Their on-air talent is fleeing. Skip Bayless is gone. Mike Tirico has left the Monday Night Football booth. It looks like Randy Moss might be coming over, and I think Chris Carter is out, and I think Michael Irvin might be out.
Yeah, so that pitcher. What was his name?
They fired Kurt Schilling for wrongthink. So I mean, obviously ESPN is an SJW network. They're owned by Disney, which is an SJW company, so it doesn't surprise me. They have a long history of suspending their talent for stupid infractions like wrongthink all the time. They do it all the time. So I think maybe their chickens are finally coming home to roost with some of these people saying, "Screw it, we're going to go somewhere where we can say what we want and not have to worry that we're going to get suspended over it."
Did you hear what's up with Disney?
No.
They missed their earnings guidance, so they didn't make the money they thought they would make, and so they started shuttering some things. They shut down Disney Infinity, their video game.
Whoa!
Shut it down. It's gonna be shut down in 4 or 5 months. They're shutting the studio and putting all of the people who made the game out of work. Yeah, that was announced just yesterday or the day before. And Disney Infinity was a big deal. I mean, that was a huge deal. They've had 3 editions of the game, and they keep on adding. They added Marvel, they added Star Wars, and apparently it still couldn't make up for problems elsewhere in the Disney corporate empire. So
that's bizarre to me because they've got some
gaming division.
Yeah, they are no longer doing first-party publishing. If they make any games in the future, I don't know if they will, but if they do, they're going to be working with somebody else's publisher, like EA or Activision or somebody.
Oh, that's right. The stock market. They said the reason it dropped today was because of the Disney earnings report.
Yes.
So, wow.
Well, they probably are hurting for cash. I mean, I was there a couple of months ago. I just had to sign over my mortgage and give them a kidney to get in the front gate, and basically, anything you do in there, it's $110 or something to even walk in. I think it was, and Star Wars, I think, would that make about $10-15? I mean, they must be hurting.
Yeah, I can't believe how expensive Disneyland and I haven't been to Disney World, but I've been to Disneyland, and yeah, those tickets are expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
$100 now?
Yeah, they're 100. I think they're 105 or something. They're trying to roll out seasonal pricing, from what I understand. So if you go on off-peak times, you'll get it for 85 or 90 bucks or something like that. If you go peak, you're paying the 105, 110. So yeah, it's not cheap, man. It is not cheap at all. So, Professor, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I have nothing but contempt for what Disney has turned into, and it pisses me off that two of the really best things in popular culture Disney bought and is now turning into shit.
Marvel.
Marvel, Pixar.
Oh, right.
I was going to say Star Wars, but I had to reconsider that. Star Wars got turned into shit a long time ago.
Yeah.
They're turning it into political SJW shit, which is even worse. I would rather have another set of prequel trilogy, as bad as it is, than to have some SJW movie where they preach to me and stick in an omnicompetent female lead just because they can't make human characters who are flawed anymore, who are female.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the last Star Wars was just, it was almost an exact copy of the first one with Luke, except with the girl playing an SJW. So.
I'm just waiting for like Star Wars 7 or Star Wars 8 or whatever the next one is, or maybe the Han Solo prequel or the Boba Fett prequel or the Darth Vader prequel or the Yoda prequel to come along and tell me about how evil North Carolina is because of bathrooms.
Oh, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming.
Oh, don't get us started, Daddy.
It's funny you said that because I've got in the background with the volume down. I've got Hulu going, and I just saw the Target commercial, and they keep playing these same two commercials over and over again. And it's like the first one is like fat chicks in bikinis, and the second one is a Spanish language pop song playing the whole time. It's like I don't know what their demographic is. It's like you're talking right to me. Fat chicks in bikinis and Spanish language songs. I mean, it makes me want to run right out to. Who are they preaching to? I don't understand. I don't get the point of it. I'm not sure who their advertising agency is. Although I guess I could find out, but it doesn't. I don't know. I don't understand what they're. I don't understand what they're doing. Professor, did you get a chance to hear any of the show last week?
No, I didn't.
All right, so the hell with you then.
But I heard it was really good.
I think it's time for another employee meeting. You're just not pulling your weight around here. You skipped out on the show. You didn't hear the show. Did you read the damn article? You didn't read the article.
Read that article, but I forgot what I read.
It's great. It's great.
It's the one that got posted to Ralph, right?
Yeah, it's the one Ralph got. Yeah, Ralph.
Yeah, I read it.
Well, thank you, Daddy Warpig. I appreciate that. What did you think?
I'll be honest with you, that's kind of a surprise that I read it because I don't often read things that aren't. Actually, I don't often read things. Period. I'm too busy.
I know you don't.
I did read that.
All right. Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was a great article. I tweeted it out or Facebooked it out or whatever the hell they call it over on Facebook.
Oh yeah. What do they call it? Posted? I guess they just say posted. I don't know.
Wait, is that the one?
But yeah, I posted it out because it was a great article and. Some great stuff for Nick. I like Nick. Nick's a great guy. He deserves all the exposure he can get.
He is a great guy, and I know between my site and Ralph's, I know we're at least we got thousands of eyeballs, or 1,000, I think, maybe a little more on there. So that's a good number of reads, and I think someone else had it for a little bit of time and pulled it down because they didn't have permission. I was told it was up on some other site. I didn't check because I don't really care. As long as they give me a link or attribution, I don't really give a crap. If someone else wants to post it, they can. But I think they might have pulled it down because they didn't have permission. So I should just say that now. If anybody wants to ever post one of the articles that you see up there, I don't care if you do. Just give me a link or some credit. I don't care if you post it. That's fine with me. So you didn't read the. See, this is why I sent.
I did read it. It's the one with the publisher, right? His publisher wasn't.
Yeah.
The story right. Because it had anti-SJW.
That's
content,
right. That's right. It was a really good interview, man. I tell you, he was very interesting. I liked him quite a bit, and I'd like to get him back on someday at some point in time. But if you had listened to the interview, we were everywhere, man. We covered everything. I don't think Daddy Warpig. I don't think there's a topic we didn't hit last week, right?
we covered quite a lot of stuff.
We really did. It was a lot of fun, and I think we went we went long too, like 2 hours. I think we went.
Yeah.
So that was good stuff. Now, Professor and Daddy Warpig, either one of you are interested in this. I don't know. I'm setting this up way in advance because I know how these things go, but I'm going to do it with Ralph for sure. But what I want to do is an extended stream for election night. I want to do like all of us in the same virtual room, like watching the election returns coming back and running commentary, that kind of thing. So if either of you are interested in an election night stream with me and Ralph, let me know. And I know it's way outside, but like I said, I know how these things are. So if you don't set them up months in advance, they get lost. But put it in your calendars if you want to jump in.
I think that'll be fun.
All right, that'll be a good time. So we'll tweet that when it comes out. We'll get the link up and stuff. But there's going to be a special election night Bacon Bits. It's going to be a long one. We're going to watch the election returns. This should be a good time. So, Professor, anything?
I'm going to predict him right now. Trump is going to win.
I think he's going to win too.
He'll win easily. I'm going on record saying Trump will win easily versus Hillary.
I think he beats Hillary too. I agree with you 100%. I think he wins.
I mean, he's almost even now in some polls, and he hasn't even really started attacking her.
He's almost even, and in a lot of respects, I think that Trump is strong. I think Trump and Hillary are weak and strong in the same areas. It's like if it was football, it would be a team with a great passing offense playing a team with a great passing defense. He's not great with women in some respects, but she isn't either. Her disapproval numbers are coming dangerously close to his. I don't know that there's going to be too much in the way of October surprises for either one of them. Their scandals are so out in the open like this, but right. I don't see her getting an upper hand, even with. Maybe with minorities, she might get some of the upper hand with blacks, maybe, but she's not going to get the same numbers in terms of turnout that Obama did. So I'm not sure that it's going to, help her the way that it helped him. But I think I definitely think that Trump has the upper hand, especially the longer the Bernie-Hillary fight drags on.
Right.
Here's something I'm going to go out on a limb here. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. Bill Clinton is sick. He's very sick, at least from the pictures I've seen of him recently. They haven't announced anything, but I bet money, because I know the Clintons, following their political career since the late 1980s, I'm betting that she will wait until it is politically expedient to announce that Bill Clinton is ill.
You think he's looking thin? Like he has cancer or something?
The last picture I saw just looked horrible, and I don't know if somebody had fiddled with it in Photoshop to make it look worse than he did, but it was ghastly. I don't want to put a lot of stock into it because, so people manipulate images on the internet all the time, and so if you uncritically believe any image you see, you're setting yourself up to be a fool. But I have this feeling that if Bill Clinton is sick, that she's going to use it as political hate, because that's how the Clintons roll.
Right.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. Plus, I doubt it's cancer, Professor. It's probably more like syphilis or gonorrhea or something.
I also want to say this. I don't hope Bill Clinton is sick. I don't want him to get sick and die because, I'm a real human being who has emotions and stuff, and I know that's confusing to SJWs, but maybe you'll get it someday. I don't pray for anyone to get ill and die like that, but Hillary Clinton is one cold-blooded bitch.
Oh, she is. She is. She really is. And I'm telling you, man, I know a lot of liberal people who just cannot stand her. She's just not very likable. She's not believable. She has, if she were a Republican and she had one of those I keep hot sauce in my pocketbook moments, or I ain't no way he's tired, that kind of bullshit. I mean, she'd be run out of town on a rail, and now she's endorsed by a woman who's been pretending to be an American Indian to prop up her shitty academic career for 5 years. I mean,
did you hear about the news that came out this week about Senator Warren?
What's that?
Her ancestor, her great-great-great-grandfather or something like that, was actually involved in the Trail of Tears. She pretends.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Wow.
She pretends to be. Doesn't she pretend to be a Cherokee?
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, she had it on her resume. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Well, the Cherokee are the Indian tribe who got run off on the Trail of Tears.
Right.
By Andrew Jackson, yeah.
And her great-great-grand something or other was involved in running off the Cherokee, who she pretends to be.
What better woman to endorse Hillary Clinton, who is basically black? She keeps hot sauce in her purse. Maybe she could pick Sean King as a running mate. Or Rachel Dolezal. Rachel Dolezal, yeah. Then you could have a black American Indian ticket. It would be. Have you ever seen a bigger bunch of phonies in your entire life?
Oh, see, but that's the problem. Hillary is inauthentic, and she's surrounding herself with inauthentic people.
I see our special guest stars are back.
Yeah,
They are indeed back. They like to make an appearance once a week at least. Now they've shouted down. They shouted down Ash. They shouted down poor Nick last week, Nick Cole, and now you guys get the Stark treatment. So there, I hope you're happy.
Hey, you know, one thing I wanted to discuss, though,
Yeah.
Bacon Man and Daddy Warpig, is the Never Trump people. I just don't get their logic, because I was arguing with them earlier this week, and I told them that a vote for by being Never Trump and not voting, you're practically voting for Hillary. Or if you vote third party, you're practically voting for Hillary. The effect is you're voting for Hillary. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I see it. And they kept screaming, my principles, my principles. But what I wanted to know was, well, what happened to the principle of not letting Hillary win and making the country worse? You know, what happened to that principle?
Right. It's like they're cutting off their noses to spite their faces.
Yeah,
That's exactly
totally.
what they're doing. And not only is it a vote for Hillary, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm not even sure I believe half these guys. I think they're screaming, "Oh, my principles" on Twitter because they want a pat on the back for their fucking principles. Like that's going to be some consolation when Hillary wins and destroys the country. But they're going to go in that voting booth, look over both shoulders, hold their noses, and pull that Trump lever because they know what's at stake.
Yeah, I bet they will vote for Trump.
I bet they do. I bet you anything they do. I don't see nobody's voting for Gary Johnson. Get out of here.
No, but even if they do, because I like him, because he was a governor of New Mexico, ex-governor, and he's a good guy. But come on, a vote for him is really a vote for Hillary.
Maybe he should announce a VP then.
Trump.
Maybe he should announce a VP. What's Fiorina doing? She's got nothing going on. Maybe Gary Johnson needs to announce a VP. I don't know. You know, look, the Never Trump people are they're kind of like they're zealots. Okay, there's nothing that Trump is doing that's violating their principles. The only thing that they can say he does that violates their principles is stuff that they made up in their own minds. They say, well, he violates my principles because he's a racist. But then ask him specifically what he does or says that's racist, and they can't find anything other than to twist his words or leave things off, like say he hates immigration, he hates immigrants.
Yeah.
When he doesn't, and he's never said that. So that's one thing he could say, or that he's a sexist and he hates women. But then if you ask him, you know, to give an example of him, have you ever known a guy who's been best friends with all his ex-wives before? For God's sake, he's got daughters. His kids are great. I mean, look, he's clearly not the world's leading misogynist. So unless you're making things up, that doesn't violate your principles. The Never Trump people simply were Cruz supporters.
Yeah, the Cruz supporters that are bitter that Cruz lost.
Right, they're bitter Cruz supporters. That's what it is. This whole election turned into like turned political people into sports fans, where they get rabid. You know, if you root for the Bears, you got to hate the Packers. If you root for Cruz, you got to hate Trump. It's a very weird dynamic that happened in this election. I've never seen it before. I mean, I've seen guys in the primaries that I've wanted to win over the years, and they haven't, and you hold your nose and you get behind. I mean, Romney wasn't my favorite pick, believe me, and McCain certainly wasn't either, but it wasn't like I had to hate him now because my guy didn't win. You just gotta, in some cases, you just gotta go with the guy who's gonna come closest to aligning with the future that you want for your country, and it's certainly not gonna be Clinton.
Right.
So, if you're a Never Trump guy and you say, I'm never going to vote for Trump, I'm just going to sit home, then, you don't really have a right to complain when she destroys the country. I just don't see how you can do it, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's illogical. The Never Trump guys are just being emotional. They're acting more like SJWs than they are, informed voters.
Right, right.
It's just an emotional response, and it's a tantrum. That's what it is.
That's exactly right, a tantrum, and they don't get it. But they think we don't get it. They keep repeating, you guys just don't understand. You don't know what it means to vote on principle.
Oh, yeah, okay. Is that what they're doing? So they are SJWs. They're like taking the high. They're morally superior to everyone else because they have these principles.
Yeah.
You know something? I'll tell you what. I would have voted for Cruz if he'd have won the nomination, and the only thing that would have kept me from doing it is if Trump had hit the magic number and they stole it from him at the convention. And in that case, it wouldn't have been a tantrum. It would have been a flat-out protest. But in this case, if Cruz had won, I would have voted for him.
Yeah.
I was not never Cruz. It's irrational. It's illogical. It doesn't make any sense at all to actively sabotage your country, to teach them a lesson and the lesson is, I have these bizarre principles, and the only way I can support them is to not vote for a guy who violates my principles, but only if you believe all the shit I made up about him.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
No, you're looking for logic for this.
It's really hard to understand them, and I just don't get it.
You'll never get it because it's an emotional argument. It's not a logical argument. They have no logical argument, so you'll never understand it. It's like I said, it's just a tantrum. It's the same thing as the Mexican kids, wanting to make America Mexico again. It's just a tantrum. It's an illogical tantrum, and it's not what they really want. It's not the outcome that they really want. They just don't know any better. It's like you know what it's like, these Never Trump guys. They're like the teenage girl, who slams the Dad, I hate you. I hope you die. Slams the door. And then the next morning, she's like, oh, I didn't mean that. I really didn't mean that. That's what's going to happen if Hillary gets elected. They're gonna, oh my God, it wasn't our fault. We didn't mean it.
Yeah. Okay, just had to get that off my chest too.
Yeah. There's a lot on your chest. I'm telling you, man. There's been some stuff this week. How about the fat activist who comes from California, Berkeley? Shock, right? She's like a gender studies activist. She's been so she comes to Minnesota to give a now she's a professor at Berkeley, but for some reason is giving lectures in Minnesota and a couple of other universities, and her lectures are on fatophobia.
What?
You didn't see this, right? Okay, so she's given lectures to students in other colleges, and the crux of her message is that weight loss is not something that most people can achieve, and so it's lose hate, not weight, is the motto she brings with her. She compares the healthy lifestyle movement to rape culture. She says it's because of heteropatriarchal norms have forced women to feel like, and men, that they should be a quote-unquote healthy weight. You'd have to read all of her ramblings.
I did see an article about that. I think Steven Crowder posted it. Yeah, they said something like weight loss is a social construct.
Yes, right. Right. Now, first of all, can we all just agree that the adding the suffix phobia to words thing is stupid and should stop? It doesn't make sense. No one has a fear of fat people. No one has a fear of gay people. Stop adding phobic to everything, and it's just stupid. All right? It doesn't make sense.
What makes them feel superior, like they're smarter, they're less scared than everyone else.
I don't understand it. You're transphobic. No, I've never been afraid of a tranny in my entire life. I don't even know what that means. Like what? I think they're gonna pop out of the closet or something. I don't. What's the phobic? What? I don't understand where Daddy Warpig. Where did they get that from?
I have no idea.
All right. So listen, SJWs, stop doing it. It doesn't make sense. You look stupid. The suffix doesn't fit on any of those words. No one has any fear of fat people or gay people. I don't understand what that's about. So find another phrase that makes more sense.
It's supposed to shame you into stopping your wrong think.
It doesn't.
Think the right way.
It makes me mad. It makes me wrong think even more. That's what happens. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. I mean, fat phobic? Are you serious? I'm not worried for me, lady. I'm worried for you. You might have a heart attack right here in front of me. I'm not phobic. I'm just caring. I care. I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
Jesus. These people are crazy. Did you ever think you'd see? I mean, she's lecturing at colleges with this nonsense. Someone paid her for this.
Yeah, they at least paid for a plane ticket, and usually when you have a speaker talk at a college, you get some kind of honorarium, which is several $100s, and so.
What a surprise that she came out of UC Berkeley, right? Everyone's shocked she came out of California, Berkeley. I swear to God, I am this close to just taking a hammer and going and pounding on that fault, the San Andreas fault, until something falls in the ocean up there.
Yeah, I really don't know what's going on in colleges nowadays.
I don't either. I really don't. And you know what? You're in one. So
I know.
I don't know how you do it every day.
Well, now the students at my university are protesting the seal of the official seal of the University of New Mexico because it's racist.
What is it?
It says the seal says UNM, and it has a picture of a conquistador and a frontiersman. And somehow, and here's the thing, it was designed by a Native American. They're protesting the seal as racist.
Well, what if you get Elizabeth Warren to say it isn't? She's an Indian. She can say that.
Why is it racist?
Because it has a picture of a Spanish conquistador and a frontiersman, someone that looks like Daniel Boone, I guess. And,
yeah, but why is that
racist? So the president of the university said, well, why don't you give us an alternative design and we'll consider it. And that's the thing, these SJWs, they don't give solutions. They just scream about taking it down, removing it, and when you ask them, well, give us something that we can discuss, a better seal, they don't give anything.
I don't understand why that's racist.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, it's probably racist for me not to understand why it's racist.
It is. You're a Hispanicophobia. That's why you have I don't understand why it's racist either. Here's the thing, Professor.
I think because the Spanish conquered the Indians and it's something like that. I'm not sure either.
I don't understand why these college students, where do they have the time to do this? When I was in college, we went to class, we all had jobs, we dated, we hung out and had fun, we went on trips. I mean, nobody had time to, all they do is protest. Don't they work, go to class? Don't they have anything to do?
I don't mind college students protesting, but your arguments have to make sense. And they have to be backed up with facts and argued rationally.
Can you protest something important every now and then, other than the college seal? Isn't there a more pressing issue? What about childhood cancer? Couldn't you, go volunteer at a children's hospital or something. You're going to have a sit-in over a college seal.
No.
They're stupid, and they're shrill, and they're loud, and you know what? The fact is that the rest of the country is finally noticing the damage that we've done raising kids this way. I think it's finally come full circle now that we're seeing this nonsense, and I think
people are pushing back.
People are fed up with it.
Right. I think that's part of the reason we have Trump, because of all this politically correct speech. People are sick of it.
It is part of the reason we have Trump. Every time the mayor of Lindinistan opens his mouth, Trump gets more popular. Every time illegals block traffic and have their kids flip us off as we drive to a Trump rally, he gets more popular. And every time these stupid snowflakes pull some sit-in over a college seal, he gets more popular. So, keep it up, man. Keep it up. Keep doing this until November and see what happens.
You know what I wonder, though, is who's pushing these activists? Because it wasn't just my university. I heard that they were complaining about Harvard's official seal as well. So someone is giving these students the idea that they should protest and scream racism over college seals.
Professors, that's where it comes from. It comes from professors.
I'm afraid you're right.
Sorry, I've seen it firsthand. It's true. It's where it comes from. These guys come in there. They're 18. They're impressionable. Their frontal lobes haven't formed all the way. They have trouble reasoning, and then they're told things are facts when they're not facts. They aren't taught critical thinking anymore. They're taught how to think, and what to say, not how to evaluate it. That's the way it is.
Yep.
So you know Trigglypuff, right? We talked about Trigglypuff a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I saw that.
That's mean.
I'd like to know if her arm flapping is what caused that tornado. Like the butterfly effect kind of thing.
Just today, I saw an article talking about Trigglypuff.
Oh,
She
oh,
is
that sounds
not
good.
actually a student at that school.
Oh, really?
At the school where she was doing her protest. She used to be a student at that school, but either dropped out or flunked out. And now she's a squatter on campus. She lives in friends' dorm rooms and has for several semesters now. She just moves from one dorm room to another.
She taught a class there, didn't she?
She taught a lecture there. It wasn't an actual class. It's not a 4-credit thing. She just gives these lectures. But she's not even a student at the school. She's not even in college. She's not enrolled or taking classes. She's just this loser. And someone said that she's like genuinely got mental problems, like she's severely autistic or something, and people have been taking advantage of her and programming her with all these lies and stuff. That's fine. I don't know if that's true or not. That's fine. They say, oh, you shouldn't make fun of her. And I'm like, no, I really should. I really, really, really should. Because she deserves to be made fun of. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
At
she does.
this point, you just deserve to be made fun of. You've
And hey,
You've
if there's a bunch of Frankensteins behind that monster, then they need to be made fun of too.
Yeah. It's like you are enablers. You are not helping her out by giving her, by letting her live in your dorm and crash in your dorm room and move from one to another.
That sounds like a sitcom. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
You can just like be homeless on campus and just bop around from one dorm to another.
Yeah, they usually hang out with friends, and it happens a lot, I hear.
That's awesome. Jesus, I wish I'd known that was an option. Maybe it's time for me to go back to school. Rodney Dangerfield style, back to school.
Yeah.
I had no idea that wasn't. So Trigglypuff is not a student. She's just basically a homeless drifter.
Wow.
What a surprise that her degree in women's studies didn't get her a job at a Fortune 500 company somewhere, that she's just homelessly drifting around campus. That's what happens with it. You know, when I was a kid, when I was first in school, okay, the only useless degree that you could really get was something stupid like philosophy. That was the only thing you could get that was basically... Now there's a whole host of useless degrees that... Yeah, I'm a black history major. Great. Hit the unemployment line.
Almost anything that ends in studies pretty much is useless.
Right. They're all going to be unemployed.
That's not true. It's not. That's actually completely false. I apologize. I just lied my ass off. It is not that anything that ends in studies is useless. It is anti-useful, because not only do you not learn anything useful, you learn a whole bunch of shit that will do nothing but ruin your life. It makes you a worse person getting degrees like this. They're not useless. They are anti-useful. They're brain poison. And you are poisoning your mind to pick up degrees like this.
It's usefulophobia. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Since we're just making up words.
Anti-useful. I love it.
Anti-useful. Yep. So gender studies and all that other stuff right in the back. So that's what you can do with a gender study degree. You can wander around homeless like Trigglypuff on a college campus somewhere and just have random tantrums, I guess. That's amazing. That is amazing to me. I just can't, I saw the video. I like the one where they set her to, they like put a bunch of drums or bongos in front of her. It was like Trigglypuff laying down sick beats. I wish I knew how to do stuff like that. Hey, by the way, since I got you both on the line, let me ask you something.
Sure.
I have a series of questions for you that will help me in my personal life. First of all, Daddy Warpig, fellow Mac user, I hook my phone up to my new shiny new Mac here. I download all the photos from my phone. Then I delete them from the phone, and they also get deleted from my computer. So now I have none of the photos. How do I stop that from happening? Why did that happen? Because I almost smashed this new Mac.
There's a service through iPhone that automatically syncs all your photos from your phone to your Mac. But if you have it on, it means that it automatically keeps everything in the cloud and on your phone and on your Mac. So if you delete a photo from your phone, it thinks you want to delete it from the cloud and your Mac.
Ah.
But I don't.
The only thing you can do is turn it off, turn iPhoto cloud whatever off, and then just sync all your photos to your computer, and don't worry about syncing them to the cloud.
Okay, that might be the first Mac feature I've run into that is maddeningly stupid.
There are a couple of them, and they all have to do with the cloud or stuff in the cloud.
If I hook my phone up to the laptop to store the photos, I clearly want to store the photos. I want to protect the photos. That's why I hooked the freaking phone up, not because I wanted to risk they might be deleted by some random. I don't understand that. So either I'll turn that cloud service off. What if I move them out of iPhoto into a separate folder somewhere?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that'll work too. If you export them from iPhoto and stick them someplace else, that'll work.
Okay, so that I'll do. Second question.
That's a pain in the rear, though.
Yeah,
it is a pain that doesn't make sense.
Think of the cloud as the same thing as the folder on your phone. I think that's the problem. You're thinking of them as two separate things. You have your folder on your phone, and the cloud is a separate storage device. But I think Apple treats it as one thing. So if you remove either the file from your phone or the file from the cloud, it mirrors that behavior and removes it from both.
Have you ever used Dropbox?
Yes, I do use Dropbox. The problem is it's just about full, so I'm going to have to either pay to upgrade it or...
Right, but if you delete something on your computer, it deletes it off the Dropbox site as well. Yeah. And if you've got Dropbox hooked up on another computer, it'll delete it off that other computer
right.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how iCloud works. It works like Dropbox.
I assumed that was how iCloud worked. I figured it would take it off. If I took it off the phone, it would be removed from the cloud. What I didn't realize that it would also remove it from my hard drive on my laptop. I thought that was a safe space for my photos. But I guess it's not. So. All right, learn that lesson the hard way. Second question for you.
Yes.
I went on an interview last week, and it was this woman asked me this weird question. I think hopefully I'm not boring you, dear listeners, but I think this is interesting for a lot of people, especially because a lot of you are way younger than we are and probably are going to be going on interviews right after college, or unless you're Trigglypuff, then you just stay there, I guess. Okay, so I got thrown for a loop by this question. You guys are smart, creative people, so I want to ask if this would have thrown you for a loop. Now, I'm interviewing for the position, okay? It's for marketing director is the title of the position. So obviously, marketing plays an important role in this. So I'm going through the interview, and it's going fairly well, and then she comes up with this one. She says, tell me one thing about marketing that you hate, that if you never had to do it again, you'd be perfectly happy. This one thing about it that if I took it off your plate, you'd say, good, I never have to do this again. And all of a sudden, I stuttered and stammered, and I hummed and hawed because instead of just answering the question like I normally do, now granted, I've been with the same company for about 8 years, so I'm a little rusty on the interview process. But in my head, instead of answering the question, I'm thinking, now I'm analyzing it. Why is she asking me this question? Is the right answer just going to be nothing? I love everything about marketing. I'm very passionate about marketing. Is that what she's looking for? Or if I say that, is she going to say he's full of shit? Now I know he lies to me because everyone has something they don't like about their job. See? So now I'm in my head, I'm analyzing the motivations behind the question. I'm not answering the question. And I was just baffled and stammered my way through a half-assed answer. And I know, I mean, the interview I knew it went terrible right after that. So it all went down the toilet. But do you think that's a weird question, or what do you think the reason is for even asking that? I've never gotten that question before or anything like it.
You know, I think it's like, tell me your weaknesses.
Yeah, I hate those.
I think they just want to hear what you say. And if you say, oh, I have no weaknesses, or you say things like, oh, I work too hard, they know you're lying, you're just BSing.
I'll tell you what I would say. I would say trying to chase down deadbeat clients who don't pay up.
Yeah. That's what I should have said. That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, it's a reasonable answer, and they're like, oh, yeah, I could see that. Not wanting to deal anymore with clients who don't pay? Yeah, I could see that.
That is a good answer. You know what happened is I reverted to I just reverted to honesty, and I said, you know what, if if I had access to a talented graphic designer, he was good at his job, I would be happy to unload graphic design because that's really not my favorite part of the job. And then later on, I'm reading through the job description, and it's like graphic design is like bolded out in the ad. So I'm like, oh.
Well, you know what you could have said. You know how a lot of marketing involves going on Twitter and social media and promoting your products. You could have said you didn't like I don't know. Well, no, I guess you can't say that. I was going to say you don't like the SJWs attacking products on
Right.
social media.
You know what? This was a software company, and so if they're anything like technology companies around the country, it could be full of SJWs. I don't know.
Right. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it was a weird. I don't know. I never encountered a question like that. I like Warpig's answer though. That's pretty good. So maybe I'll keep that one in the holster. But I don't think anyone's ever going to ask it of me again.
Yeah, that is a strange one.
I don't. I mean, have you guys ever been on an interview that went south?
I haven't interviewed in so long. I can't remember.
I mean, even when you were, I guess not, because when you were a kid, those interviews are simple, right? It's like working at McDonald's or whatever.
See, I guess I got lucky. Most of the time, things went south after I got on the job.
Well, that's the time. That's the time to have them. You know what I used to be the master of? Like my first job out of college, I was the master of. After I get the job, I would say like, oh, by the way, I should have mentioned this before you hired me, but I had this vacation planned. Because you never get vacation in the first year, right? So I would, so I'd say, but I already had it, I already had it paid, so, I kind of have to take it's a week, it's 3-4 months from now or something, and they'd always, oh yeah, no problem, you just won't get paid for it. Okay, good. So I get my week off this year. I easily take it in the summer, whatever. I shouldn't have said that on the air. By the way, my name is Professor Nick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I tell you, I don't like interviewing. It's a long, arduous process sometimes. It used to be simple. When I was younger, it was, hey, what's your skill set? Can you do the job? It was face-to-face. They got a feel for you. You got a feel for them. You clicked. You liked each other. You thought you'd work well, and if your references were fine, then, that was it. Now it's a phone interview and a psychological profile, and then maybe an in-person interview, and then this one was like spend a day with the staff to see how you gel. Now it's like a 5-week fucking process. I mean, I don't understand. It's overcomplicated, if you ask me. It's an overly complicated process, but also probably a direct result of too many people looking for jobs that don't exist anymore.
And it being virtually impossible to fire anybody.
And it's virtually impossible to fire anyone without getting sued into the Stone Age. It's funny. I was saying to someone the other day, these schools, the value of these schools like Harvard, and if you go to, even Florida State or something like that, to me they've diminished quite a bit. And when I was younger, I used to place more importance on it. But I only went to University of Albany, and what I found is that over the years, no one gave a shit where I went to school, just that I did go to school. It might matter for that very first job. Now, that's okay. Obviously, there's exceptions. If you're a lawyer and you went to Harvard or something, that's something you'll tout your entire career that you're a Harvard-educated attorney. But if you're in some other field, marketing, business, and whatever, I don't know, accounting, that first job that you get, they might look at your school, your grades, stuff like that. But after that, it's all about track record, and nobody really cares where you went to school. They just care that you did go to school, and it's not. I mean, I don't see a whole lot of employers asking me about my time at SUNY Albany. I mean, it's once you have a track record, that's what they care about, and the name of the school decreases in importance over the years. So it's a diminishing returns, I think, is what it is with these schools that you pay 2 or 3 times the amount of money for. I mean, don't you think that, Professor?
Yeah, all undergraduate programs are essentially the same. It's when you get to graduate school that there's a big difference. But yeah, in terms of undergraduate, you really can go to any credible university, and it's just as good as Harvard.
Yeah, I'm not saying University of Arizona. Don't get me wrong here. Not one of those. You do it over the phone or whatever. University.
That's University of Phoenix.
University of Phoenix. Yeah, that's what I meant. So I haven't seen their seal either, so I don't know. It could be a racist seal. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, it's been fun. I'm going to let Professor Nick get back to Supernatural, and I promised you guys I would keep it to an hour, so that's what I'm going to do. If you guys have any more guests like Nick Cole that you want to bring on, or Ash, I mean, she was great. I did DM her, Professor, to ask her to look at that article, just like just for kicks, to see if she'd give me an answer more than that's great. Because I was going to talk about it on the show and then make fun of you, but she never freaking. That's the only DM she never answered was that one. So I don't think either she didn't like it or she didn't want to read it. So.
She's too famous to answer DMs.
Yeah, she's too famous, or maybe she's mad that we forced her date to go south. I don't know. All right, so we'll find a guest for next week. I don't know who, but it'll be a mystery guest, and we'll have some fun with that. And I will get you some more details about the special election night edition of Bacon Bits that we're planning. So, other than that, we will see you all next week, and thank you for stopping by. I'll be over on the division if you need me, if the servers aren't broken. See you later.
Thanks.